Alright, we're back for UFC 72, and I have Chris with me again. But this time we don't have Sleeping Anthony. Alright, UFC 72, which is called Victory. It's going to be in Belfast, Ireland. Kind of a weak card, but there's some interesting fights on it still. Alright, first up we have Dustin Hazlett versus Stevie Lynch. Now, this is Lynch's debut in the UFC. I don't know a lot about him. He's supposed to be kind of a ground fighter, but he's English. And not living there, I kind of don't pay a lot of attention to the English fight scene. As for Hazlett, this is his third time in the UFC. He's 1-1 with a win over Diego Sarieva, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and a loss to Tony DeSouza. He's also probably stronger on the ground than he is on his feet. He's a bit taller, 6'1" to 5'10". Pretty much breaks it down. Hazlett should have a stronger wrestling game than Lynch, just because British fighters tend not to be the best wrestlers, and I don't really know enough about Lynch to really comment on much of the rest. Lynch is undefeated at 4-0 though, so I guess that means something. What do you think?
I think I'm going to give this one to Hazlett, since you said he might be better. He's got good wrestling ability and all that.
Yeah, it appears so.
And plus, even though Lynch...
Diego Sarieva had a very hard time taking him down.
And even though Lynch is undefeated, like based on the record, Hazlett seems to have a bit of a gain on him.
Okay. Alright, next up we have Season 4 of The Ultimate Fighter meets Season 3 of The Ultimate Fighter. And Scott Hands of Steel Smith versus Ed Herman. Ed Herman, everyone remembers, is, the whining little bitch of Season 3, basically. He was continuously whining about Tito not picking him, but as much as I may not like him as a person, Ed Herman is a considerably good fighter, very good wrestler. He's got some good submission game, good ground game. Stand-up isn't terrible. He's 1-2 in the UFC, had a bit of a rough start losing to Kendall Grove and to Jason McDonald, but then he beat Chris Price last time out, so he'll be looking to even up his record. He's going against Scott Smith, who's a contrasting fighter. Very good wrestler.
Guessed,
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a very good wrestler, but he uses his wrestling somewhat a la Chuck Liddell. He doesn't use it offensively, he uses it to stay on the feet. He's similarly 1-2 in the UFC. He's got a loss to Dave Terrell, which was a bit of a weird one, because Scott Smith claims the ref told them to break up and stop fighting, but Dave Terrell kept fighting and ended up submitting him with a rear naked choke. It was a bit of a weird one, like I said, and then he beat Pete Sell in the Tough 4 finale. That was a very nice fight. And then he lost recently to Patrick O'Tay. So, I don't know, mixed results for Smith. He is a good wrestler. He has heavy hands. I'd say he's got the advantage standing over Herman, and Herman's more of a ground fighter, but we'll see. What do you think?
Pretty closely tied based on the records.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Similar stages of their careers, basically.
Not sure about this one.
Not sure. I'm not overly sure. I'm going to make the statement that if Herman gets it to the ground, he will beat Smith, but I don't know if he will. I'm going to say Herman will get him to the ground just because, Travis Lutter got Smith to the ground, so, it can be done. So I'm going to go with Ed Herman. Next we have a bit of a heavyweight bout here. Eddie Sanchez, who everyone remembers as of last time getting his butt kicked by the debuting Mirko Cro Cop, will be facing off against Colin Robinson. Robinson's a big man, a heavyweight, but he's considerably bigger than Eddie Sanchez. He's making his debut. Sanchez has a win over Mario Nato, for the record, in the UFC. So we got basically, Sanchez likes to stand. Robinson, again, I haven't seen a lot of him because, again, he's a Irish fighter, I do believe. I'd have to look that up just to be sure, but he's from the UK somewhere. So I really have nothing really to break down here. Sanchez is decent all around. He's not a particularly good striker. He's not a submission ace. He's not a particularly good wrestler. I don't know.
not sure about this one, but like Sanchez does have some experience in the UFC, and you don't know much about Colin Robinson.
No, next to nothing. He's a big man, that's all I know.
Yeah. Not sure about this one much either.
I'm going to go with Sanchez just because I've seen him fight. I'm not overly impressed with him. Next we have UFC debuting Jason Tan and Marcus Davis, who's making his 5th trip to the Octagon, the Irish Hand Grenade. Although I believe he's calling himself the Celtic Warrior now, so whatever. He's 3-1 in the UFC, lost his first fight to Melvin Gillard by kind of domination, and then since then he's beaten Forrest Petts, he's beaten Shoney Carter, and Pete Spratt. So he's an interesting fighter in the fact that he started out as a very stand-up oriented fighter, being a former professional boxer and a good professional boxer. He had no ground game to speak of on The Ultimate Fighter 2. But since then, he's actually been probably better on the ground than he's been on his feet, which is a bit weird. It's quite a turnaround, because normally, I mean, boxers learn how to fight on the ground, but usually it doesn't become their strength. Their striking remains their strength. But Davis has been better on the ground, I think. Jason Tan, don't know a lot about him. It's relatively early in his career. He's like 5-1. About similar sizes on paper. So I don't know. That's about all I have to basically break down on that one.
I'm going to give this one to Davis.
I would have to go with Davis. Just don't really know Jason Tan all that well. Next we have a fight that I'm kind of looking forward to in the lightweight division. Clay Guida, the Carpenter, versus Tyson Griffin. Now Tyson's a bit undersized for lightweight. He's more of a featherweight body. He fought Frank Edgar in one of the more recent UFCs, and that was Fight of the Night material. And like you remember, Tyson had the big knee bar on Edgar, but he wound up losing a decision. That was a very, very nice fight. Both are coming off losses, but for the record, Guida lost to Din Thomas. So, what can be said about this? They're both ground fighters more than anything else. Wrestlers with a fairly good knowledge of submissions. Standing, I would have to give it to Tyson Griffin, just because Clay Guida's stand-up, in my opinion, is considerably hole-filled. Not particularly good. And Griffin's got some decent stand-up, but he's a smaller man than Clay Guida. So, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, Guida's got a lot more wins on his record than Tyson Griffin, so... And I don't know much about these two guys, but I'm going to have to give it to Guida based on this one, on his record.
I'm going to give it to Clay Guida just because I think Tyson Griffin's should wait for the UFC to bring the 145-pound division, which they're supposed to be, so the rumor is that they will.